on the color.
Forward, attention. Forward, right turn. Forward, in single file to your post, quick march. Into line, left turn, order course.
We'll now sing our national anthem. During the silence, we will remember those who have passed on since we last gathered here. Veteran Ken Serge and Cadet Kyler Van Den Peeboom, excuse for pronunciation, sorry, will lead us in the act of remembrance and the commitment to remember.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Whole party, deposit colors.
That's the, Kyler, do you say the commitment?
They were young, as we are young. They served, giving freely of themselves. To them we pledge, amid the winds of time, to carry their torch and never forget. We will remember them.
We will remember them.
Color Sergeant, deposit colors.
Whole party, ready, turn. Whole party will retire. Quick, march.
Everyone please be seated.
Veterans, honored guests, comrades, ladies and gentlemen, I bring you greetings on behalf of the membership of Branch 6. Today is your day. Please enjoy.
Thank you, Ed. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Gloria Hayward. I'm chair of the board of the Bill Bishop Museum. Welcome to the annual Honoring Our Local Veterans here at Branch 6. We're on the traditional and ancestral grounds of the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, the Saugeen First Nation, and the Chippewas of Nawash, the people who were here first. I have a nice speech written here, but I think I'll just talk for a little bit. They told me I only got a couple minutes. When I was thinking about what to say this year, I got wondering about why do people sign up for the Army, the Navy, the Air Force? Why? I mean, you're going to get posted who knows where, for how long. And I mean, some of those posts, Meaford's okay, Meaford's good. Alert, maybe not so much. When you're on a ship, a frigate going to the Persian Gulf, it's not like being on a cruise ship where you go around a pool with the cold beverage of your choice in your hand. It's hard, and you go to places where you don't know what's going to happen. Maybe you won't come home. Maybe your buddies won't. And so that's how I wonder why you do it. Is it for a job? Is it for, I don't know, a chance for further education? Chance for adventure? Maybe it seemed like just the thing to do at the time. Maybe it's a family tradition. I don't know. I asked a friend why her son enlisted, and he told her it was to see the world and to make a difference. And when it all comes down to it, I think that's what it is, to make a difference. I know my veteran buddies here, they shrug and say, yeah, it's just a job, we're just doing it, we did it. But you do make a difference out there. It's when you go back to the Second Great War, you made a difference. You went out, you liberated people from such horrible, horrible evil. During the COVID pandemic, you made a difference going to nursing homes and making the government finally acknowledge there's a big problem there. You're making a difference going to other nations to help those people learn a better way to defend themselves, perhaps. You go into war zones to bring a hope of freedom, of a better way of life to people, other people far away. Sometimes we're not perfect, so sometimes our forces have done some terrible things. And our missions maybe don't end up like we wanted them to do. But you've still made a difference. Maybe those little flames of freedom, of a hope for a better life will grow someday. And our difference will continue to be there. Yeah, I know. I see you guys there, you look at me and you say, yeah, okay, I was just doing a job. But deep down, I think you all went out there to make a difference. To you, it's a job. To me and to others, it's more than that. It's going out there and making a difference. Merci, miigwech, thank you. Today, we're honoring 8 people who each in their own way have made a difference. Dave Alexander, my second in command and chair of the Veterans Committee, will lead this part of the ceremony. He'll be assisted by Museum Director Emily Jolliffe and board member and veteran Wayne Bruce. Over to you, Dave.
Thank you, Gloria. Veterans, viewers, and friends, welcome to this year's Honoring Our Local Veterans. We are pleased to be at Branch 6 Royal Canadian Legion for this event and having it televised on Rogers TV. This is the 22nd edition of this program in which we have honored over 200 local veterans from Bruce and Grey counties. On this occasion, we have marked the 80th anniversary of the Dieppe raid. In fact, one of our posthumous recognitions today will include Private Harry Tucker, who was killed in action during the raid. He, Nursing Sister Jean Sword, and Lieutenant Augustus McKnight will be the subject of this year's They Serve For Us memorial markers, which will soon be erected at Jervis Bay Memorial Park here in Owen Sound. Veterans and friends, it is a great privilege to introduce this year's participants of Honoring Our Local Veterans. There is no doubt that this group of veterans we will recognize today have contributed much to make this country great. They are a diverse group, having served with different branches of the armed forces in distant locales around the world. They left their civilian lives and loved ones behind to embark upon an uncertain journey from which they were not assured they would return. One thing they do have in common is a commitment and a desire to serve their country. This theme will become very evident as we introduce each one of our honorees today. In his own words, Private James Cohen signed up for military service in 1951 at London, Ontario with the Royal Canadian Regiment to escape his mother's purse strings. He was posted twice to Germany and Wainwright, Alberta. Private Cohen's service began during the Korean War. Making his way to Korea, Private Cohen sailed aboard the SS Buckner, along with 5,000 other troops, first landing at Yokohama, Japan. The trip took 14 days as they had embarked from Seattle. He was a wireless operator during his time in Korea. Private Cohen saw active fighting during the Korean War, including Hill 355, known as Kwongsang, to Koreans. It was later nicknamed Little Gibraltar by UN troops because of its large size and numerous defensive positions. Actually today, this day today, the 23rd, we're marking the 70th anniversary of that battle for the RCR and the Canadian multinational forces. After the Korean War, Private Cohen was posted to Zurich, Germany, where he met Queen Elizabeth II, albeit in pouring rain. Jim provided two thoughts about his military service. The Major advised, don't be too inquisitive before you see what's beyond the other side of the hill. And you've got to be nice to people. That's all there is to it. Could we please have a round of applause for Private Cohen? By the way, I should have clarified this earlier. Please, veterans, do not feel that you need to stand up. In fact, we prefer that you sit down and listen about yourself and the other veterans. Able Seaman Audrey Coltis enlisted at a Sudbury recruiting office in February 1942. He trained at Toronto, British Columbia, Quebec, and Nova Scotia. Able Seaman Coltis was assigned to HMCS Prince Robert and Thetford Mines as a radar operator. He was part of an escort group, 25L, of the Atlantic Coast Command Operations, which sailed out of Halifax, Nova Scotia. They escorted ships in Canadian waters with frigates St. Therese, Joliet, La Louise, and Orkney. In March of 1945, part of escort group 25L, HMCS Thetford Mines, La Louise, Stratfordam sank U-boat 1302 in the Irish Sea. The U-boat was a 7C type, and all hands aboard were lost. Later that month, escort group 26L, including the frigate New Glasgow, rammed U-boat 1003 in the Irish Sea. Frigates Thetford Mines and Stratfordam would later pick up survivors. On September 18, 1945, Able Seaman Coltis was discharged due to demobilization. Unfortunately, Audrey Coltis died of a heart attack in 1982. Today, representing Audrey Coltis is his granddaughter, Bonnie Coltis. Could we please have a moment of silence for Able Seaman Coltis? Aircraft woman Joan Cracknell signed up with the RCAS Women's Division at Ottawa, July 1943. She started as an Aircraft Woman 1 and then was subsequently promoted to Aircraft Woman 2. Aircraft Woman Cracknell did her basic training at Rockcliffe Airport, Ottawa, and completed her Morris Cone training at Montreal. She was later deployed to a facility outside Vancouver where she served as a wireless operator. Aircraft Woman Cracknell received messages in Morse code from naval ships in the Pacific Theater. She was held to the strictest of secrecy, as the messages often contained vital, privileged, and confidential information that would have been disastrous in enemy hands. While on leave, Aircraft Woman Cracknell hitchhiked in uniform with other servicewomen from Vancouver to San Francisco. They were treated very well by the American civilians who thought that they were Royal Canadian Air Force officers. Joan offered these words about her military service. I learned how to be part of a team and was given the wonderful opportunity upon discharge to attend university, which would not have happened had I not served in the RCAF. This experience gave me the desire to travel worldwide, which I have done. I think she owned a Ferrari car too. Could we please have a round of applause for Aircraft Woman Cracknell? Evidently, she has some great friends. Master Warrant Officer Kenneth enlisted for military service right out of high school when he was recruited at Walkerton, only 17 years old in 1985. He did his basic training at Petawawa and was attached to the Royal Canadian Regiment. He qualified in driver track, tow gunner, infantry 2IC, urban ops, QL6B, unarmed combat instructor, and small arms courses. Master Warrant Officer Kenny was an infantryman who started out as a private in 1985 and rose to the rank of Master Warrant Officer in 2008. He was posted to CFB Petawawa and the 4th Division Training Center at Meaford. During his 27 years of service with 1 RCR, 3 RCR, and the Battle School, he was deployed on 3 tours. Master Warrant Officer Kenny was in Cyprus as a corporal in 1989, where he patrolled the zone of separation. In 1984, he was deployed to Bosnia as a sergeant, doing UN patrols of the zone of separation for 8-hour stints as part of the Quick Reaction Force. While in Afghanistan, he was assigned to the main battle group, training the Afghan National Army on battle tactics and leadership. Wayne often said, "Soldier first," and that says a lot. He also learned leadership, brotherhood, teamwork, and camaraderie in the Canadian Armed Forces. Could we please have a round of applause for Master Warrant Officer? Upon enlisting with the Royal Canadian Air Force, leading aircraftman Elwood Moore trained at Hamilton's Westdale Technical High School on a 6-month radio theory course. He completed his basic training in Toronto and at the exhibition grounds before being transferred to the radar school at RCAF Clinton. Leading aircraftman Moore was subsequently attached to the anti-submarine squadron Cape Breton until 1943, when he volunteered for aircrew overseas. He embarked for the United Kingdom and was attached to RAF 68 Squadron. Radar technology was developing so fast, by the time he got overseas, he had to be retrained. Leading aircraftman Moore was trained on aircraft interception radar, and he installed them on Mosquito aircraft of 68 Squadron. Aircraft interception radar was essential for night fighters to find a target. He was primarily a radar technician who maintained the radar equipment aboard the aircraft. 68 Squadron moved around a lot, but he fondly remembers Swansea and South Wax. After the war, leading aircraftman Moore was returned to Canada, where he was discharged, and he said these words about his service. "I crossed the Atlantic on the SS New Amsterdam, where the toilets backed up and the men were seasick, and the bulkheads were closed. I had to climb up 3 decks to get to the bathroom. Things got a bit slippery. At first, I did not know what I had signed up for, although I knew I was going to learn a lot about radios. Unfortunately, Elwood had a fall this past Friday, and he's recuperating. His son, Brian Moore, who's here to represent his father, Elwood, today, says he's feeling much better today, which we're very pleased to have heard. Also, Elwood just celebrated his 101st birthday. I just want to share one personal anecdote. This past summer, Emily and Carolina and I had the opportunity, and Brian was there, to go up and interview Elwood. And for me personally, I've had the opportunity to do quite a bit of research of the OSCBI, their war dead. And then here we start talking to Elwood. And I said to Elwood, I said, "So do you remember much from your school days?" And these were in the 1930s, late 1930s at the OSCBI. And he sure he did. He liked math, and he was a good athlete, track and field. He shared some experiences about that. And then I started asking him about names. And he could remember Jack McCarroll, Bob Garvey, George Menzies, and Jack By. All of these gentlemen served with the RCAF, and unfortunately, all of them were killed in their service. And to me, it was just, I still today, I get goosebumps when I think about this. This is a connection, living memory connection to these guys that died during the Second World War. So I thank Brian for that. And I think technically we never gave him a formal round of applause. and thank you for sitting in for him, Brian. Could we please do that? During his 35 years of service, Master Warrant Officer Kenneth Serge attended courses and trained all over Canada. He completed leadership training at CFB Borden and the 4th Division Training Center at Meaford. He was stationed in Germany from 1984 to 1988. He did 2 tours of Cyprus in 1982-83 and 1990. His main task being to keep the Greeks and the Turks apart from each other to maintain peace. In 1993, Master Warrant Officer Serge was deployed to Bosnia and Croatia for 7 months, and again in 1997 for 6 months. During his first tour, he saw action in the Medak Pocket, where 21 Croats were killed during a 4-hour firefight. His unit, Charlie Company, were on the front line, and they traded their blue for green berets. They were now tactical soldiers and no longer UN peacekeepers. He was deployed to Afghanistan on a Hearts and Minds Provincial Reconstruction Tour 2005-2006. They were tasked with building playgrounds, schools, roads, and working with local politicians. His second tour of Afghanistan was in 2009 as a sergeant major to help train the Afghanistan military police. Ken was quartermaster senior instructor for Wayne Wright Battle School from 2011 to 2010. He retired at Borden as a sergeant major in 2017. Ken offered these thoughts about his service: duty, honor, courage, honesty, integrity, discipline, and comradeship, and most of all, professionalism. Could we please have a round of applause for Master Warrant Officer Serge? Chief Warrant Officer Lawrence Serge was born and raised in Owen Sound. As a teenager, he soldiered with the Grain Simcoe Foresters, growing up just 1 block from the armories. He enrolled in the regular force in 1973, whereupon he was posted to Cornwallis for recruit training. Upon completion, he was posted to 2nd Battalion, Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry, where he became a trained infantry soldier. He subsequently remained in the 2nd Battalion until 1977, at which time he took his release from the Canadian Forces. Following a 2-year absence, Chief Warrant Officer Serge married and enrolled once again in the CF, returning to number 2 PPCLI in Winnipeg in 1979. 2 PPCLI has always been home to Chief Warrant Officer Serge. Only 1 year in 23 years of regimental duty has been spent outside the 2nd Battalion, when in 1992 he was posted to 3 PPCLI at Victoria. Other extra-regimental duties have included Instructor, Canadian Forces Leadership Academy, Borden, 1989 to 1992, and Company Sergeant Major of the Canadian Forces Nuclear, Biologic, and Chemical School at Borden, 1993 to 1995. Other highlights in a career spanning 34 years include 2 tours of Cyprus, 1976, 1982, 4 years in Germany, 1984 and 1988, Croatia, 1992, and 3 deployments to Bosnia in 1997, 2000, and 2003. Chief Warrant Officer Serge's final 2 deployments to Bosnia were in the capacity of Regimental Sergeant Major, the position he was appointed to in 2000 following 1 year of French language training. From September 2003 to July 2004, he served in the National Defense Headquarters as Director of Land Force Readiness. One of his duties during this time was developing the Contingency Operating Plan, COP Valor, for Canada's last surviving Victoria Cross winner, Ernest Elvia Smokey Smith. From 2004 to 2007, Chief Warrant Officer Serge was appointed Regimental Sergeant Major at Land Forces Central Area Training Center. In June of 2006, he was appointed a member of the Military Merit, the MMM. He also received the CLS commendation for his efforts in developing and implementing the Army's Diversity Training Program. From July 2007 until July 2008, Chief Warrant Officer Serge was appointed as Force Sergeant Major for the Multinational Force and Observers in the Sinai Peninsula, Egypt. He was posted then to Land Forces Doctrine and Training System in Kingston in the capacity of non-commissioned member, Professional Development, Chief Warrant Officer for Director, Army Training. He said these words about his long and distinguished military career: "You cannot change what you do not acknowledge, and what you fail to acknowledge will get worse until you do. You did what you knew how to do, and when you knew better, you did better. When you choose the behavior, you choose the consequences. There ain't no hat badge on your helmet." Could we please have a round of applause for Chief Warrant Officer? That's the first time we've ever we've honored two brothers from the same family. And I saw her around earlier, but Irene Serge deserves a lot of credit for this happening today. Private Harry George Tucker enlisted with the Royal Regiment of Canada on September 20th, 1939, at age 39. Just 10 days after Canada declared war on Germany. He served with the Royal Regiment in Iceland and as a technical storeman in the signals section. At age 41, Private Tucker took part in the Dieppe raid on August 19, 1942. He landed with the Royal Regiment on Blue Beach at Puy, France, acting as an operator on a number 18 wireless set. Harry was killed almost as soon as he set foot on the beach. Private Tucker was one of 272 fatal casualties experienced by the Royals that day. Canada's official historian of the Second World War wrote, "The episode at Puy was the grimmest of the whole operation, and the Royal Regiment had more killed than any other unit engaged." Since Private Tucker has no known grave, he was memorialized at Brookwood Military Cemetery in the United Kingdom. He was also listed on the Owen Sound Collegiate and Vocational Institute's Second World War plaque. A good friend of Harry's, A.E. French, noted, "Harry always took a keen interest in veterans affairs, and it was largely due to his efforts that the 147th Toronto Battalion, Toronto Association, was formed here in 1920. He was our president for several years." We are sorry that the chair is empty today. Harry's other brother was killed during the First World War. He had a birth mother and then a stepmother. They were both killed actually during the Second World War. And then his dad didn't live long after. His dad was a long-serving lawyer here in Owen Sound, so we've been unable to track any family members of Harry's down. So that's why the chair remains empty. Could we please have a moment of silence for Private Tucker? Even though the Billy Bishop Museum documents and perpetuates the memory of Air Marshal William Avery Bishop, it is also part of our mandate to honor the service and sacrifice of all past serving members of the Canadian Armed Forces, including these veterans we have here today. By extension, we also honor the service and sacrifice of current serving members of the Canadian Armed Forces. It is of particular interest to note that this group of veterans in front of us today has been awarded more than 40 medals, and this does not account for other decorations or citations that may have been bestowed upon them. Thank you to Emily Joliffe for your efforts to research and produce these great panels. Thank you to Kirk Scott for the accompanying retrospective video of the veterans who have been honored in the past. Thank you to the members of the Veterans Commemoration Committee for your organizational efforts. Thank you to Branch 6, Royal Canadian Legion, for hosting us today. Thank you to Mark Perry and his crew from Rogers for televising this event. Thank you to Gary Byers, so you can hear me today. He's our sound technician. Thank you to Levante Living and Veterans Affairs Canada for sponsoring HULV. Thank you to our veterans' families for supporting them in this endeavor. Thank you to our veterans for your service to Canada, participating in this event, and especially for sharing your stories with us. Their plaques will be on display in our community at Kelso Villa Retirement Home, Harry Lumley Bayshore Community Center, the Heritage Place Mall, MP Alex Ruff's Owen Sound Office, and then finally, thank you, the viewers, for watching this special broadcast today. Oh, by the way, we should have one more round of applause for our veterans.
Emily and Wayne. And thanks to all our honorees for making a difference. Incredible stories there. Thank you. And thanks to everyone else out there who has served and continues to serve today. And to your families. We tend to forget how that it's not just the people that serve, it's all the families as well. And now, MP, Bruce Graham's MP, Alex Ruff, was not able to be with us today, but he did send some words to share, so I'll read that to you. Dear veterans, families, the Billy Bishop Museum Board, volunteers, staff, and distinguished guests, I regret that I am unable to join you for the Billy Bishop Museum's 2022 Honoring Our Local Veterans event. I would like to start by recognizing the hard work that the staff and volunteers do every year to pay tribute to the fine veterans being recognized this year. I would like to thank veterans leading aircraftman Elwood Moore, James Jim Cohen, aircraft woman Joan Cracknell, Master Warrant Officer Kenneth Serge, Chief Warrant Officer Lawrence Victor James Serge, Master Warrant Officer Wayne Kenny, and the families of able Seaman Audrey Chester Coltis and Private Harry George Tucker for your service to Canada and the community. The Billy Bishop Honoring Our Local Veterans program continues to be an important tradition that educates and informs the public of the incredible military service of their local neighbors and community members from across our region. I would also like to highlight the families of the veterans who provide incredible support during and after service. Thank you for the support you have and continue to provide to your family member. I hope to join you for the plaque return ceremony in spring 2023. Pro Patria and lest we forget. And it's signed Alex Ruff, MSc, CD, Colonel, retired, the Royal Canadian Regiment. And now Bruce Gray on MPP, Rick Byers will say a few words.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Gloria. Thank you all for being here this afternoon, and to Dave for a really special presentation. And thank you to the Billy Bishop Museum. 200 veterans honored over time is a great service to what you're making these meaningful to our community. Thank you for doing that. And thank you so much to Branch 6 for a great presentation this afternoon. I mean, as I was hearing those stories and histories and these fantastic honorees and their representatives, it really was so beautiful and meaningful. You know, at times in our world, with so much else going on, it's an event like this that really hits home and shows the commitment that these honorees all made to our community and to our country and to our way of life that we enjoy. And we can never thank them enough for having done that and their service. So thank you all again, and thank you for a beautiful afternoon and for a very special memory for us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. And now on to our Mayor Ian Boddy.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the veterans that are being honored today. All veterans that are here, their families especially, and the Billy Bishop home supporters, the Legion supporters, and all guests. It's a real honor to come here representing the city annually to these events. I grew up in a household where my dad was a veteran of the Second World War, but perhaps lucky he didn't think so. He ended up a baseboard and was a really good hockey player, and therefore was never allowed to go overseas. It's pretty amazing to come to this and hear the stories of the veterans since that Second World War, and how Canadians and local people from our region have taken our way of life, taken the things that mean so much to us, our freedoms, and tried to share them with others around the world. When you look at the program and the names of the countries that are in there, it's pretty amazing, those places that these honored veterans today and all veterans of Canada have helped out around the world on behalf of our country. So it's a big honor for me to come and hear these stories, hear the places that we've gone, and share these experiences. So on behalf of the City of Owen Sound, congratulations to the veterans, and thank you all for your service.
Thank you, Ian. And now Rhonda Laws, representing our sponsor, Kelseyville.
Hello, everyone. I really am a complete honor to be standing in front of you today. Not only am I representing Kelseyville, which has two honorees sitting in front of us, but also an uncle. James Cohen is my uncle. He served in the Korean War and fought on Pork Chop Hill is what he describes it to me as. Joan Cracknell, one of our residents at Kelseyville. I've had a beautiful afternoon sitting and talking to her and seeing her smile as she shared some of her stories of her time. Her biggest takeout was knowing that she was doing the right thing, getting that education that she managed to do it. She actually told me a story about the bank, and she knew math was not her specialty. So she went to her boss and told her, you know what, this isn't my fault, this isn't for me. And they worked out a 2-week notice. On her last day of work, she walked across the street and enlisted in service. She went home, told her dad, and her dad said, you go there right now and tell them you're not coming. Well, it's pretty obvious that she didn't listen to her parents. So, Joan, thank you for your service, and thank you for the stories that you shared with me. Uncle Jim, thank you for your service. And Elwood Moore, his son Brian is sitting here in his honor. I wanted to go and talk with him on Friday, but unfortunately, as you heard, he had a fall and I didn't get that chance with him. So I'm looking forward to sitting down with him and hearing his stories and hearing some of his laughters that I've heard with his speech with Dave. So in honor of Elwood, Brian, thank you for your dad's service. We need to remember that our family members who often serve, we think that it's them making the sacrifices, but it's also those of us who are left behind. The parents, the husbands, wives, children, siblings. You are all affected by their service. And you all, again, deserve an applaud because you served along with them. So thank you, everyone. And it is absolutely an honor for me to be standing here representing Kelso Villa, but I also as a board member with the Billy Bishop Museum. And I am on this committee that is able to honor our local veterans the way we are today. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ronald. Thank you, everybody. Please stay after the conclusion of the ceremony to enjoy refreshments. And thanks to the Ladies Auxiliary for providing that for us. And take some time to chat with the people that are here, the veterans that are here. You'll find some interesting stories and see a chance to say thank you personally. Now, please rise if you are able. Color Sergeant, prepare to march off the colors.
Party, halt, into line, left, turn. All party, retreat, colors.
March off the colors.
All party, carry, colors. Right, turn. All party will retire, quick, march.
Thank you all for coming today, and we'll see you again next year. Now enjoy the refreshments.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.